Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. I will have to just open the door. Just give me 1 second. अभी मेरा मीटिंग चल रहा है बाद में बात करते हैं। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम। So let us start with verse number 45. उपादानं प्रपञ्चस्य ब्रह्मणोऽन्यत् विद्यते तस्मात् सर्वप्रपञ्चोऽयं ब्रह्मैवास्ति न चेतरत्. So he says upadanam. Upadan means cause. So we have seen that when we were doing Brahma Sutra, we saw the upadana, the material cause and the efficient cause. So here we are looking at the material cause. The material cause, upadanam, the upadanam, prapanchasya, prapancha. Prapancha means that which is coming out of the five. Why is it coming out from the five? Panchikaran is one other beautiful work by Acharya, where he says that the sequence is very simple. The subtle originates first. So the Mahatattva called Nad or sound comes first, right? And the first sound that came was the Omkar. From that sound came the less subtle, which is encompassing, called space. Space generated the concept of feeling. From feeling, touch, came air. Air created the light or heat. From that came fire. Fire created taste, from which comes water. Water created smell, from which comes the earth. So the five Mahatattvas or the Pancha Mahabhutas, all these five, they are what is called this entire universe. You cannot think of a sixth which encompasses this universe. So therefore it is called Prapancha. Prapancha, Prakarshena Panchaha. So it says Prapanchasya, of this material universe. Brahmana Anyata Naha. Anyanya Vidyate. There is nothing other than Brahman. Very strong declaration. In this universe, see, in the earlier part, we had looked at what, if you remember, Raghuji was asking, that he's saying that the body also is nothing but consciousness. The body also is consciousness, but we recognize it differently. So he says, Tasmat Sarva Prapanchoyam, therefore, Sarva Prapancha, this whole universe, I am this Brahma, Brahmaivasti na Chetarat. Brahman, Eva, alone, Asti, is. Asti. He who says it is called an Astic. He who says a Astic, and who he says it is not, is called an Astic. So, Asti is. Na, nothing, cha, and itarat, other than this. So he says that the other than the Brahman, there is nothing. So the entire material cause of this entire world, which we see as plural, is only one, and that is Brahman. Where do we see this otherwise, other than that? We see that also in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasya Midakam Sarvam, right? So we see that Ishvara has permeated this entire universe. Now, this concept of permeating, we will have to see very little differently. So, why are we saying that there is this Brahman permeating everything? Very simple. See, whenever we see anything around us, we see that it is changing. Right? In the corporate world, we generally make this big announcement saying, change is the only constant. So be prepared for change. And then you say, and then you change the designations of everybody, you change the salaries of everybody, you downsize, and all that is coming up. And that is because you say change is the only constant. Change is not the only constant. Any change has to be measured against a constant. Any change has to be measured against a constant. If you look at the, when we say that I am traveling by road from from Bombay to Delhi, then what is the constant? The constant is the road. The constant is the distance on which the travel happens. Now, if you just imagine, if the road is also changing, will you be able to measure the change? The road, so you are in Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so in Alice in Wonderland, we know this. Now you are keeping on digging, and the hole keeps also expanding. Now you can never measure the change. So to measure any change that you have, this change has to be measured against a constant. Now, what is this constant? At the Jivatma level, we have to look at everything from a Jivatma or a microcosmic level, or we look at it from a macrocosmic level. We were talking about this yesterday when we were doing the Bhagavad Gita, that chapter 1 to 6 is the microcosm. Chapter 7 to 12 is the macrocosm. So when we are looking at the microcosm, the Jiva, that Jiva is nothing which is, it is same as the Shiva. But what is it that remained constant in all the changes that we have gone through? Do manan on that. Changes that have happened in us in terms of our hair growing. When we were born, we were possibly without any hair. Then our hair grew. Then our beard grew. Then that beard became thicker. Then it became white. Then the hair started falling off. All these physical changes happened. Right? These physical changes happened on the body or in the body. Did I at any point of time experience a change in the consciousness of the fact that I am existing? I exist. That is the constant against which all these changes happened. So when we wake up in the morning, I'm saying I exist. When I go to sleep, I say I exist. I exist. This I that exists is the layer on which all these changes are coming on one by one, one by one, one by one. All these changes. So that substratum called I. Now, if I am saying I, you are saying I, everybody who is listening here is saying I, everybody in this universe is saying I, that conglomerate of all the I's together is nothing but that universal I consciousness, which is called Brahman or the self or the Atman, whatever name we want to call it. See, these are all names. We have given it all names. Right? These are names we have created. Brahman does not come and say, I am Brahman. Right? People say that. So I'm sure I've told you this earlier. I got a call from somebody who said, I am Brahman. I asked him who is speaking. He said, I am Brahman speaking. I always... So, yeah, of course he was Brahman speaking. The problem is that Brahman has to speak to me through a name and a form. So I had to ask him very, very politely, please tell me the name and the form that Brahman has taken to talk to me. Brahman does not come and declare, I am Brahman. Right? When Brahman takes manifested form, that manifested form can declare, Aham Rudre Vivasur Vichara. Devi says in the Rigveda Devi Suktam, I am Rudra, I am Vacha, I am so on and so forth. That declaration can come from Ishvara. Ishvara is manifested Brahman. But the unmanifest, it is not going to communicate with me. And I cannot give it, because of my limitation of my imagination, I have to give it a name. So you call that substratum Brahman. Right? That which expands. But Brihati, that which expands is therefore called Brahman. So that is what he is declaring, Acharya is declaring here. Right? he says that this material cause for the play of matter and energy, both in the material world, which has burst forth into infinite names through a process of time. Now, very interestingly, Brahman exists beyond time. You see, I'm sure we have heard stories of the sadhus who can look into the future or look into the past, and they are able to, when they meet the person, they completely are, they can read the mind and so on and so forth. Why? Because see, what they have done, such a person, he has transcended this material reality. So therefore, time, matter, and energy, three things that function in this material world, they have transcended it. So now I can see it operating. I am beyond it. I can see it operating. I am not inside it. And therefore, in a limited way, because of the limitation of the body, mind, intellect, which this person still holds, he is able to interact and tell as to what is going to happen. Very interesting story with Gurudev is that I'm sure you saw the movie called The Quest. At least I had told everybody to watch it. If you have seen that, in that he told that photographer, right, come on the 8th of August, you will get an opportunity to do a photo shoot. And he specifically gave that date. That is the date when he took Samadhi. So the Gurudev was not a miracle monger. He would very rarely display any of the siddhis or powers that are so-called associated with the saints. The greatest miracle was his existence itself, of being completely soaked into Brahman, living in Brahman, acting in Brahman, but yet acting in this world. That is the ideal that he put in front of us. So therefore, here he says, Acharya says very clearly that upadanam prapanchasya brahmanyonyanya vidyate tasmat sarva prapanchoyam brahmaivasti na chetarat. Nothing, na itarat. He says nothing other than this Brahman can be there in anywhere. So everything that I am perceiving. Now, this particular shloka can be interpreted from a Dvaitik means also. And the Dvaitik means will say that what can a watch exist without a watchmaker? Obviously no. So therefore, can this come from nothing? Can this entire universe come from nothing? Obviously no. This nothing is the Shunyavadi theory. Our Advaitic view does not say that it comes from nothing. It comes from that which held everything. That which held everything. I will explain that a little bit, or we'll examine that from a scientific perspective. Let us see in the next shloka. So he says, Vyapakata mithya sarvatmeti shashanat sarvatmeti shashanat
Here it
iti
is Sarvamatmeti. Sarvamatmeti.
sarvamatmeti or
Sarvatmeti.
व्याप्यकाता मिथ्या सर्वमात्मेति शासनात् इति ज्ञाते परे तत्वे भेदस्यावसर कुतः. So here he says vyapaka avyapakata. Now, if see aparoksha anubhuti, the word itself says that direct experience, which means there must be an experience, there must be an experiencer, and there must be that which is experienced. But in Nirvana Shatakam, what did he say? Na bhojanam, bhojyam, bhokta. I am not the enjoyer. I am not that which is enjoyed. I am not the act of enjoying. So here, when we say pervaded, it is only a play of words. There is nothing which is pervading. The whole concept of something being pervaded or pervading cannot exist. Because if you are saying it is pervaded, means there has to be two. One which is, or rather three. One which is pervading, one which is pervaded, and the act of pervading. Right? Everywhere you will find anything that we are doing, it has three. I am writing. When I'm writing, there are three things that are happening. The act of writing, the process of writing, the words that are coming out, and the material on which the writing is happening. Three things are happening. When we say pervaded, it means that there are three things that have happened. Pervaded, pervader, pervading. But that cannot be, because that is only a play of words. So when we say that all the experienced teachers have continuously, at least in Shruti, have declared that there is only one. There is only one. This pervading is nothing but a play on words. We have to understand that. So, Gurudev, when he used to, not Gurudev, sorry, Puja Guruji, when he used to, Tejamanaji, when he was teaching Aparokshanubhuti, he used to say, if this whole process of pervading and pervaded and pervader did not exist, then I will not be teaching, you will not be taught, and the process of teaching will not happen. So, now you do manan on this, saying that instead of the Rasagulla, your Rasagulla has become the Aparokshanubhuti. So my direction of my thought has changed to move towards something higher than the material Rasagulla that I am running after throughout in my life. The act of possessing, the act of enjoying, the act of wanting, the act of regretting, the act of being anxious about, all this gets discarded when you are sitting and doing manan, and the process is happening through an experienced teacher. But that can only happen in this entire world. And therefore, what beautifully in the Dvaita theory, it's very beautifully said that I don't care for moksha. I so enjoy the act of doing service to the Lord that I want to continue to be separated from you, my Lord, so that I can keep serving you. That is the Dvaitic view, right? But unfortunately, that service also is a vasana. And because of that vasana, extinguishment does not happen. And to extinguish, we have to transcend that vasana also. The desire to achieve nirvana is also a desire, very categorically stated by Gautam Buddha.
Yeah.
Gautam Buddha very categorically says, the desire to attain nirvana is also a desire. However, that is a desire that propels you. It is the pole that allows you to vault. But then you will have to give up that pole also. You cannot hold on to anything. And which is why very categorically, Gurudev used to say this. Any person who says, I can give you moksha, is lying to you. Either out of his intent to cheat you, or out of his complete ignorance about what moksha is. Nobody can give moksha to you. Only you can attain moksha through your own processes. The Guru can take you up to that point where you will now jump. But up to that point, yes, we do need the Guru. Without that, that journey becomes impossible. So, he says here, let us examine this again from another perspective. When we say, so yesterday night, I had a very frightening dream. Right, I dreamt that I was being chased by a very rabid dog. It was frothing in the mouth, and it was almost about to bite me. I was trying to run. It was running behind me. People around, they were all trying to throw stones at the dog, trying to deviate it from biting me. And I woke up in a sweat. Where is the dream? Where is the dream now? Gone, right?
वैनिश हो गया.
Vanish नहीं हुआ.
तो
उसको मैंने absorb कर लिया. I am now the waker. But where is the dreamer? It isn't me, no? I am still the dreamer. Except that the act of dreaming I have stopped. Now, which is why in the Mandukya Upanishad, he gives us three states. The first state is called the state of Sushupti. The second state is called the state of Swapna. And the third state is called the state of Jagrata. Right? Sushupti is when your body, mind, intellect have stopped functioning, and therefore the vasanas have stopped functioning, and you are in deep ananda. Sushupti is when you are in ananda. Mandukya Upanishad says there is a Turiya state. Turiya, the word Turiya means fourth. No name has been given to it. Jagrata means awake. It means awake. Sapna Avastha means dream state. Sushupti means sleeping state. Turiya means fourth. There is no meaning for it. Right? The fourth state, where you are experiencing the ananda of Sushupti in Jagrata Avastha. Mandukya Upanishad is very clear on this. Gaudapad, Bhagavad is Karika, the Bhashya written by Acharya Gaudapad on the Mandukya Upanishad. Incidentally, Gaudapad is Govindapad's guru. Govindapad is Acharya's guru. Right? So in that lineage, Gaudapad, so many people say that Advaita was founded by Shankaracharya. Advaita was not founded by Shankaracharya. Advaita always existed. Advaita always existed. Otherwise, Isha Vasyam Idagam Sarvam could not have been written. Right? But Acharya codified it, explained it, and spread it. Acharya's work was more in spreading it rather than, and codifying it, rather than finding it. It has never been founded. Right? Neither has the Dvaita school been founded. Oh, Madhavacharya founded the Dvaita school. No. The Dvaita school always existed. Madhavacharya only codified it. Ramanujacharya only codified Vishishtadvaita. Vedavyasa did not write the Vedas. He just codified the Vedas. He edited the Vedas. These are all Aparokshanubhuti. They have always existed. These schools of thinking, these philosophies, and which is why it is said that which is born will die. That which has never been born cannot die, excepting one thing. There is only one thing that is not born but will die. चलिए puzzle hai. Something that is not born but yet will die. There is only one thing.
Vasanas.
नहीं. Avidya.
Avidya, yes.
Maya. It has eternally existed, but it can end. It is the only thing that can eternally coexisting with Brahman's, because it is power of Brahman. And therefore, but however, that power can be withdrawn. You can move away from that power. So, Sri Thakur used to always say this, that Maya is ready to lay down and go to sleep. You have to sing the right song. If you sing the right song, then she will go to sleep. And you can transcend her and go to Brahman. So, even when we are looking at this, we see this dream is sustained by my mind alone. My mind changes, the dream changes. I do not change. That is the truth that we have to do manan on. So, when we say that this infinite consciousness, Brahman, permeates this entire universe, what do we mean? It is in the same view of what the dreamer, waker, etc. is that what we are looking at. So, when we awake to that reality, and again, I'm using the limitation of words, when we awake to that reality in the Turiya state, then you are in Ananda. See, the dreamer at a very subconscious level knows that he is sleeping. The waker is a witness to both the states of sleeping and swapna. But are you a witness of the state of Jagrata? No. Because you are so inside the Jagrata state that you do not know whether you are awake or not. Right? I always ask, especially young children, how do you know you are awake? How do you know you are awake? How do you know that this is not a dream? Dreams can be so real. Right? Yesterday, the dream that I was describing, obviously I was just telling you a story, but you must have had those nightmares where you have woken up in a total sweat. Right? Or the child has woken up and it is crying. And it is lying to look under the bed because there is some monster under the bed that it has imagined. The dreams are very real. So how do you know you are not dreaming right now? Bataiye. What is the proof of we are not dreaming?
You're conscious of our
How?
presence.
You're conscious always. You're even conscious even in your dream state.
Dream
Because
state.
the realization
No,
changes very fast. We are in one state, immediately next moment in another state. Or it
Continuity.
hold
Yes,
on to that
yes,
state.
yes. Continuity. See, when I wake up, and just imagine, for a moment, imagine you have woken up and you went to sleep on a particular bed. You woke up and you find that you are in the cabin of a ship, and the ship is rolling and it is in the middle of a big storm, and you feel very disturbed and you fall unconscious, and you wake up and you are on the back of a camel, right? Continuity is not there. Whereas you went to sleep, the fan was white in color, the ceiling was white in color, you woke up, the fan is still white in color, the ceiling is still white in color. That continuity helps us to say that I am in the Jagrat state. But because of that continuity, I also get enmeshed in that continuity. And therefore, I look at myself in the mirror and say, I am like this. I am wearing a so on and so forth shirt. I am not wearing a shirt. I cannot wear a shirt. I am Brahman. But then I look at myself as the body, and therefore I say, I am wearing this shirt, I have black frames, and so on and so forth. All of this, the act of possessing, the act of identifying with the body identification is one of the toughest to get rid of. Mentally, we can understand it, but it is not easy to realize it and say, I am not the body. To be aware of every moment as not being the body and yet acting through the body is the state that Acharya and therefore Gurudev is driving at. So he says in the next verse, Shrutya nivaritam nunam nanatvam swamukhena hi katham bhaso bhavedanyah sthite chadvaya karane. Advaya karane, sthite, being situated. In advaya karane, advaya, non-dual, karana, cause. So in the Shruti, it is negated completely negated. Nunam, very, very categorically, with surety. Nanatvam, nana means in multiplicity, right? Nanatvam. Swamukhena, by its own direct statements, the Shruti directly states this. It is, you don't have to go to a Upanishad where a Rishi is talking. Directly in the Veda itself, it is said that there is this, the Ishvara permeates. Purusha Suktam is an example. Rigvedya Vacha Suktam is another example, where the permissiveness of this entire universe by this presence is repeatedly stated in the Vedas itself. So he says Shruti is directly indicating that. Now, the question comes, if you look at it from a materialistic point of view. Materialistic point of view, the origin of this universe right now has come about from what is called the Big Bang. Right? We all scientists everywhere agree that there has been a Big Bang. Right? There used to be three theories. Used to be three theories of creation from the scientific viewpoint, cosmological viewpoint. One is called the solid state creation theory. This existed exactly like this, will always exist. That has been completely broken. All scientists now say that cannot be. Then there are two. One is the ever-expanding universe and the second is the oscillating universe. So the ever-expanding universe is the process whereby this expansion will continue. 15 billion light years away, there is something that we have managed to find out, and possibly there are things even beyond that. The oscillating universe says that it will expand to a certain point and then start coalescing back into, again, single point. Now, in the latest theories, they say that what we know of this universe There are huge areas of what is called dark matter. You can Google it. And dark matter outweighs the matter that we can see. And this matter, dark matter, it has a gravitational force. We do not know its properties, but we know that it has a gravitational force. And that gravitational force is what is holding this entire universe together, and it will reach its limit of expansion caused by that great Big Bang. That force, when you throw a ball, the force of the ball takes it to a particular point, the gravity will pull it back. Right? The greater the force, the greater the distance of the ball. Similarly, that great force of the Big Bang, it has propelled this entire universe to a certain degree. And after a certain degree, when that force starts petering out, again, it will start coalescing backward. This is the most accepted theory now. What does our theory say? Our theories always say that the universe is very oscillating. Every kalpa, Brahma wakes up, the universe comes to being. Every kalpa, Brahma goes to sleep, the universe vanishes. Now, I'm not saying that they were scientists who knew the Big Bang and all that. No, I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is, you know what they did? They merely studied themselves. They studied themselves. And then they extrapolated that into the universe. When I go to Sushupti, what happens to the universe? Vanishes. There is no universe. Because my body stopped functioning, my mind stopped functioning, my intellect stopped functioning. I was kept alive by the autonomous part of my nervous system, which continued to do digestion and beat my heart and whatever it was doing. But my overall functions, the cognitive functions, the emotive functions, they all completely went into stupor. What happened to the universe then? It went into oblivion. And when I woke up, the entire universe came into being again. Now, if that is true for me, it is equally true for Parthoda, it is equally true for Vishu, it is equally true for Minaji, it is equally true for every person in this earth, and therefore expanding that into the universal consciousness. When universal consciousness wakes up, this entire universe comes into creation. When this universal consciousness goes to sleep, this universe goes back into stupor. Now, universal consciousness does not go to sleep. These are only words. It only does what is called spandanam, right? Spandanam, vibration. It vibrates. This vibration. Now, let us go back to the Big Bang. At the Big Bang, what happened? There was an infinitely dense particle. I'm using, I don't know what is the exact word that is used in physics, but there was an infinitely dense particle, the density of which caused an explosion. Now, where did this infinitely dense particle come from? And what existed outside this infinitely dense particle? Oh, a void existed. No, a void cannot have existed. Void means there has to be space, and space itself did not exist. Time itself did not exist. The origin of
Yeah. I think even his screen is off.
Yeah, no, it's come back. I think something happened to the internet. So this void that existed, this so-called nothingness that existed according to physics, this all-pervasive, something that was beyond time, beyond space, beyond any measurement, what do we call it? We call it Brahman. We call it Brahman. And therefore, today, scientists themselves are now postulating a consciousness that pervades this entire universe. You can look up Higgs boson theories. Swami Atmapriyananda, Prabhakar Maharaj, amazing person. He did his third PhD in quantum physics from MIT. He is one of those few people who did not apply to MIT for doing a PhD. MIT called him to do his PhD over there. So he went on invitation, did his PhD, went to the convocation, received the degree, came back to Chennai, laid the degree at his mother's feet, went to the Mailapur ashram and sat down. In a conversation with me, I asked him, Maharaj, you studied up to quantum physics and then what? So he said, very simple. See, first I studied I studied nuclear physics. Then I studied particle physics, which is going deeper. Then I studied quantum physics, which is going deeper. After that, I have to still study. So I am studying metaphysics. Because that is the only truth that he says.
What's
He says,
his
I'm not
name?
saying.
What's his name?
Swami Atma Priyananda. You can Google him. There are a lot of videos of his on YouTube. He has a separate channel. You will find him speaking, and he is a
Swami?
wonderful speaker. Atma Priyananda, Ramakrishna Mission. So that is the beauty of our study of our rishis. So then in verse 48 he says, Doshopi vihitah shrutya, Doshopi vihitah shrutya, Mrityor mrityum jasa gacchati, Iha pashyati nanatvam, Mayaya vanchito naraha, Doshopi, dosha, mistake. Dosha does not mean fault or evil here. Dosha means mistake. Api also. Vihita, having been pointed out this by the scripture. Mrityor mrityum, from death to death. Saha, whosoever, gacchati, goes. Iha, here, pashyati, sees. Nanatvam, this multiplicity, mayaya, created by maya. Vanchita, deceived, naraha, human being. So he says here, Acharya says here, that the idea of this duality, this has been put on to us by the deception created by maya. Now, at my individual level, this is called avidya. At the cosmic level, at the macrocosmic level, your avidya, my avidya, everybody's avidya put together, we call it maya. And how do we define maya? Ya, ma, sa, maya. Right? Ya, ma, sa, maya. That which does not exist is maya. And if it doesn't exist, then why is it doing so much play? No, it exists as long as I have transactional reality. As long as I live in Vyavaharika Satta, then Maya is a very, very strong reality. The moment I move away from Vyavaharika Satta to Paramarthika Satta, then Maya becomes irrelevant. Maya dies. Maya ends. Avidya ends. So, even Sri Thakur, Avatar Purush himself, he was caught in Maya. His nephew, Akshay, when Akshay died, at that point of time, he was told the news of Akshay's death, and Thakur raised his hands and started jumping in the Samadhi state. And he said, he has gone, he has gone, he has gone. He will never come back. Right? And then he came back from Samadhi and he was standing at that railing and in Dakshineshwar, and he started crying because of his attachment to Akshay. Now, these are all Leela. They do this because they have to teach us that, yes, even for such a person also, attachment is so strong that it can cause us to come to get attached to individuals, to people, to our likings and our dislikings. He went to visit Vidyasagar. Vidyasagar was wearing a beautiful red-colored robe. In Bengali, it is called alkholla. So he was wearing this beautiful robe, a red-colored velvet robe. And while they were coming back in the horse carriage, he told the disciple who was with him, I don't remember who it was. So he said, that robe was so beautiful. So this disciple said, yes, Thakur, it was very beautiful. Oof, now I have to come back for 3 more lives because of this robe.
But is it so? Is it so? Even just getting attached to that level of small.
These are teachings. These are teachings. We have to take that as teachings, right? We have to take these as teachings. I don't know. I am nobody to judge the reality or the actual, the physical reality of these. Whether we will have to come back 3 times or whether we have to come back 30 times.
That, but
yeah.
Is there any case like any
I mean,
Purana or which tells us that?
No. The most famous story is Jada Bharat. One small attachment he had, right? One small attachment only. One deer. And he had to come back 3 lives. He came back first as a deer, then he came back again as a servant to some munis, and then after that he became a muni again. 3 lives he had to come back. So whether that one robe will cause us to come back 3 times or not, we have to take it as a teaching. Said that even these small attachments that we suffer from, right? The school bus is not coming, and your child is in the school bus. Your neighbor's child is also in the school bus. Who are you worried about? That is an attachment. That is an attachment. That universality of non-attachment is not something that we can manage ourselves also. So Thakur used to say that it is okay. Live in this world. Live in this world. But understand that you are attached and try to get yourself detached. Slowly, slowly it will happen. Slowly, slowly it will happen. Even Bhagavad Gita says, Shanai Shanaihi. Right? It says it is not something that will happen overnight. It is something that will happen slowly. Guru's grace is extremely important here. The grace of the Guru is something that enables us to have a role model in front of us whose life we can emulate, whose teachings we can follow. Teachings about what? Not the teaching about the scripture. The scripture is taught by many people. The scripture, how it is lived by these people. That is what we have to understand. वो अपने ये scripture को वो जीते हैं. And when they live through the scripture, that is what they teach us. So here he says that you will go from death to death. You will go from death to death. Mrityum, mrityo, mrityum. Mrityo, mrityum. Continuously from one death to another death. Which is what, again, my treadmill, the treadmill mantra that I always talk about. The treadmill mantra says what? Punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam. That is the treadmill mantra. You are running, you are not going 1 foot forward. No displacement in place, in time and space is happening, and you are running and running to the top of your speed, but you are not moving anywhere. And you keep coming back, you keep coming back, you keep coming back. Only through his surrender, kripaya pare, through your grace, through my surrender, please, only can I overcome this. And what are we supposed to surrender? Oh, surrender does not mean go and give 1/10 of your salary to somebody, right? There are so many systems, there are so many gurus, there are so many acharyas who will say, oh, you give me 1/10 of your income, and I am so sorry, this is very unstable today. I don't know why. So this, give me 1/10 of your income, and or you give me 1/10 of your time, and I will make sure that you will achieve moksha. Sorry, does not happen. That is a transaction.
That is
right?
not,
Yeah, I might as well go to the Ganapati temple and go and break 108 coconuts for passing the examination without studying. Right? It is not, it is only karma phala. Whatever, karma phala is the only answer to going forward. But unfortunately, what do? We have this, we believed in the shortcuts, right? So therefore, you want the shortcut. I mean, why does, this crash diets, why do they succeed so much? Because people want shortcuts. You want to lose fat, you want to create a body which is in shape, which is fit. It is a process of working out, of going to the gym, of running, of exercising, of doing yoga, of eating proper and healthy food. It's a huge, long process which will take 3 years to 5 years before you can even see any results. But no. I have to do what is called a keto diet, GM diet, the most famous one, GM diet, General Motors. First day, only eat watermelon. 1 day of only eating watermelon. Now, if you eat watermelon for 1 whole day without eating anything else, automatically you will lose 1 kilo because you have lost 1 kilo of water. That is all that has happened. And the moment you have finished that, immediately the next day you will bounce back to a larger weight. Shortcuts don't work. And in the spiritual world, that will never work. Hence, we have to remember that this mrityum is something that we will continue to go through all the time, unless we are ready to put what is supposed to be done by us, which is Brahmana sarva bhutani jayante paramatmanaha tasmadetani brahmaiva bhavantityavadharaye. This is the understanding. All beings are born out of Brahman. Brahmana sarvabhutani sarjayante. Right? Brahmana sarvabhutani, all beings. All beings here includes the non-sentient beings also. Jayante are born. The Veda says Ananda Jayati Jagata. The world is born out of Ananda. What is Ananda? Ananda is nothing but the identifier of Brahman. So Brahmana sarvabhutani jayante paramatmanaha. Tasmat, therefore, etani de Brahma alone eva bhavanti are. Thus we should understand. So thus we should understand is that this physical body also, while it appears to be different, it appears to be pervaded, it appears to be in the material world, this material energy is nothing but a manifested form of Brahman. A manifested form of Brahman. Is it right to worship another human being? Was a question somebody asked. If I can worship a stone image in which I am infusing consciousness in my imagination, then why not worship another human being who is by nature itself conscious? And you don't have to be attaining very large levels of superior spiritual heights. By the mere fact that you are another human being, you are worshipable. Everything in this world is worshipable because it is nothing but Brahman. It is my sight, my vision that cannot make that I cannot see it. My vision, my perspective has to change. Which is why in chapter 11, Sri Krishna says, I have to give you Divya Chakshu. I have to give you Divya Chakshu. Divya Chakshu does not mean he takes out his new eyes, old eyes, and he puts new eyes, like they show in the TV serial. Right? Uske aankhon ke andar mein some light will go and then the new light will come. Nothing of that sort. It's basically a change in perception. It's a change in perception, a complete change in perception, and being able to see that particular thing in everything, and also seeing that everything that I'm seeing is changing, going towards destruction, coming back again. And if I am very small, I'm still conscious of my body and my mind and my intellect. That is so frightening. And that is why Arjun gets frightened. He is saying, oh, I am seeing Kala, I am seeing Mahakala, I am seeing the fire of dissolution swallowing everything, and I am seeing creation happening at the same time. He is seeing change. He is seeing this universal the change that is happening across, and therefore he is seeing the substratum on which this change is happening. That is the declaration in a so very much more concise way. Brahmana sarvabhutani jayante paramatmanaha tasmadetani brahmaiva bhavantityavadharayet. You should understand. So that is where we will stop today. Yes, Lalitaji?
Yeah.
We finished
Yes,
half
couple
century?
of points.
We
But
finished half century?
No, we are
Okay,
49. One more if we do, at least we can finish half century.
Oh, okay, let's do that. Let us do that.
I'll ask later.
No, please go ahead. First, finish your question.
No, this you were just saying, no, the Brahman is everything. But when
Correct.
when we see the adharma, or when we see wrong things, or even if it is just dirt, something which is filth or something like that, especially because of neglect, especially, then how is it? How do we see it? I know the heart says yes, see, but the intellect doesn't take it.
So very, very right. It is our intellect which is deluding us, because our intellect has one more concept called judgment. And that judgment creates what is called liking and disliking. And therefore it exists. It exists. And I view it with equanimity. Does this mean that at a transactional reality perspective, when at a Vyavaharika Satta, I will deal with it in the same way? No, I will not. If I see a snake coming to bite me, I will obviously run away. But is the snake Brahman? Yes, it is Brahman. Very, very rightly, very beautiful story here told by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. This is about the boy who went out. The boys all went in from the Gurukul. They went to the forest to collect firewood. They were all collecting firewood. Suddenly, there was a Matsta elephant. It was rushing towards these boys. And there was a Mahot sitting on top trying to control the elephant. And the Mahot was shouting, move away, move away, move away. right? All the children ran away. One boy, he stood there. So the elephant came, picked up the boy, dashed him against a tree and kept running. Now all the children came, they picked him up, they took him to the Guru. The Guru did all the whatever seva shusrusa. He came back to consciousness. He said, why didn't you move? So he said, elephant is Brahman. Hastinam Brahmana. Aham Brahmeti. Hasti is Brahman. I am also Brahman. Why should Brahman move away from Brahman? So then the Thakur in the story says that the Guru asked, then what about the Mahut Brahman who was saying, move away, move away? Mahut bol raha tha na. Mahut is also then Brahman. And Mahut is very clearly telling you to move away. Transactional reality cannot be avoided as long as you physically have the body, mind, and intellect, but you do not identify with it. That is what is called the Turiya state.
Pardon, please repeat that.
Transactional reality will always exist as long as we have the body, mind, and intellect. However, as long as we do not identify with it, that is called the Turiya state. So I will act in this world. How do we act in this world? Oh, Bhagavad Gita says, Swapan, Shwasan, Visrujan, etc., etc. The externals do not change. The internal changes. So the last shloka for today, Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha. Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha. Beautiful. See this. Nama, Rupa. That is what we use to identify anything. What comes first? Nama or Rupa?
Nama.
Rupa. Rupa first. Rupa first. See, there is a piece of wood.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I call it a wood. I convert it into a table. First, the table will come. Then I give it a name. Right? So, but we always, when we say Nama Rupa. Right? So, Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha karmanyapi samagrani. Karmanyapi activities samagrani, totality. Vibhartiti srutir jagauhu. So here he says that he says vibhartiti is sustain, bharta, from the verb vibharti. Vibharti is to sustain, iti, thus. So he says that all activities also are nothing but Brahman. When Brahman is saying, the activity of saying, hat jao, mad hati hai samne, hat jao, ye activity bhi Brahman hai. It is not only the people that you are seeing. The energy, activities means nothing but energy. Energy also is nothing but Brahman. So that
When
is
he
where
says Jagao, that is Dvivachan, no? So does it mean
it
Jaga
declares.
and
Yes, declaration, yes.
Declaration of?
It is declaring the earlier word. Shrutir jagauhu. Shruti says. Shruti declares.
So it is not Jagat, it is a declaration.
No. Yes, not Jagat. Jagat is a different word. It is a declension at the fourth declension, which means Jagata has a samas. Jagat will mean Jayati, Gacchati, Tishtati, iti Jagataha.
This is a good example which you gave right now. Sorry. You get it. Go ahead.
Yes, Lalitaji.
No, you finish, Vishwanathji.
No. You were. Sorry, I interrupted.
Okay.
But the previous one, Bhavantitya vadharayet. That is what
Bhavanti are iti avadharayet.
Bhavanti plus iti plus avadharayet.
Correct. Bhavanti iti avadharayet. Bhavantitya avadharayet.
Okay, Yan Sandhi. Okay.
Yes, Vishu, you were saying something.
No, the example which you gave is the right way to understand Brahman even in the Vyavaharika life.
Correct.
Beautiful. I mean, this, if one can understand this way, what Ramakrishna has said, I think that's the right way to, because normally people think that even some of the gurus, they say that no, don't talk about Brahman in the Vyavaharik life, it is only Paramarthik and all those things. But what you said right now, if anybody can understand the totality, in totality, even there it is applicable, right?
Correct.
So,
Absolutely right.
So it is a very beautiful example. I think very, very beautiful example for understand, because and it answered, I think, Lalita ji's question also. And she said
Yeah,
that
so
when we
there
are
is
in the when we are in the Vyavaharika life, we think that Brahman does not exist. Okay, and this is the right way to understand how to observe. We are not looking at the totality. We just look at Brahman means that one transaction, but it is the totality of that, including the
correct,
vibration which is coming out of it. Beautiful,
correct.
beautiful. example.
Let
Uh,
us end. Yes, Lalita
Uh,
ji.
an extension of that, to go back to Pandava Kauravas, how does it work out? Because the Pandavas versus Kauravas, the way whatever they do, one does. So how do we see that?
What
Dharma
is
versus adharma.
okay? What is dharma? What is dharma?
Dharyati iti
Essence or
dharma.
what iti dharayati iti dharma.
No, don't give me all technical answers. What is dharma?
Essence of it, the sattva of it, or
The
that which is the
essential
basic.
nature of a human being. The
Yeah.
essential nature of a human being. The essential nature of a human being is to be in Sat Chit Ananda. Movement towards Sat Chit Ananda is called dharma. Moving away from Sat Chit Ananda is called adharma. What is
Wow.
therefore adharma? What is adharma? Therefore, kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsarya will keep me in adharma because it is self-centered, not centered towards moving towards dharma. So, therefore, if you look at karma, then the karmas that create dharma were in the Pandava side, the karmas that create adharma were on the Kaurava side. And therefore, the karma phala.
Suppose it is about an action, like for example, Dharmaraya, getting into the gambling in the very first place and causing all the sequence of events. So, how does one look at all that?
So, okay, first you have to understand, karmana gahano gatihi, right?
Huh?
We saw that in karmana gahano gatihi. In chapter 3, we saw that in Karma Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. The pathway of karma is so deep that people cannot understand it. You are saying that the gambling started it. I am saying that Raja Shantanu's getting married to Ganga caused this whole story. His attachment to his child caused this whole story. Right? Bhishma's attachment to his father caused this whole story. So you see,
But
what is
at
the root?
least there was no adharma until the gambling.
No, it is not about adharma. It is not. That itself is adharma.
Yeah. Gambling is adharma. No?
Forget gambling. You don't have to reach till gambling. Throwing a child into water.
Yeah,
is that dharma or adharma?
Adharma. Correct.
Then, so we are not being able to judge what is the consequence of each action that we do. Hence, it is better to do good actions. Because the consequences most probably will be good. But see, you are thinking that it may be a good action, but it may not be. Bhishma taking that terrible vow that for a Kshatriya, you see, it is not a very terrible vow for the rishis, but it was a terrible vow for a Kshatriya. To say that not only will I not marry, but I will remain celibate throughout my entire life. Right? And which is why he became from Devavrat, he became Bhishma. Now, everyone praised him. Devas showered flowers on him. Not realizing that because he did not have a child, then Vichitravirya and Chitrangada had to be captured. Wives had to be captured for them. Amba had to go through 2 lives to come back to Shikhandi to kill Bhishma. Whole thing starts with Bhishma. Even before that, it starts with Shantanu. Cause and effect, we don't know the results. So what is dharma? What is adharma? We don't know. We have no understanding of it. All we understand is our own karma and immediate actions, immediate consequence. And therefore, Sri Thakur used to always say, only do that. So so to end this, he will say, end with his words only. Somebody asked him, I do business, I have to tell lies in business. Can I tell lies? So he says, I will give you 3 conditions under which you can tell lies. Number 1, 3 or 2, I think. Or let me see. So he says, number 1, it should not hurt anybody. Okay. You should not profit from it.
And what business will you carry on?
Now you can tell any lies you want. Now you see, I told you a lie a little while back. My dream was a lie. I did not actually dream something like that. But I am permitted to tell you that lie because I did not benefit from that dream or by telling you that lie, and I did not hurt anybody. So I'm allowed to tell you that lie. Right? See, in my day-to-day living, I can create a joke, I can talk to you, I can tell you a story. All of this can happen only when these 2 conditions are met. These are dharma. These are dharma. So if you have a doubt now, I always say this, if you have a doubt, go back to the lives of saints. Go back to the lives of saints, not their teachings. Go back to their lives. Their teachings are the same. The teachings of Ramanujacharya, the teachings of Madhvacharya, the teachings of Bhagavad-pada are all the same. Their philosophical maybe differences. The teaching is the same. But go to their lives. Study their lives. See how they have lived. Because they were living epitomes of their teaching. That is why they are teachers. That is why they are Jagat Gurus.
One
I think I got
last
the time. I think I got the time wrong by 1 hour. I've come to Kansas, so I should have added. I should have gone earlier by 1 hour. I completely missed. Sorry about that.
You were mentioning that first shloka today, I exist. Can you please say something more on that?
I exist is okay. We will talk about that in the next class.
I may not be there. I'll just listen.
You'll get
to
the
it.
recording. Yes, but I'll remember. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.